Hi, I'm Jenny Pollreis. I'm one of the original Rush Rebels with Rush Foot. One of the biggest complaints we hear about the Rush Foot is that the foot shell doesn't have a split toe. Now, if we split the toe, you're going to make it so that it's not as strong or able to be withheld what we do. I run on my foot, I jump on my foot, I climb on my foot, I lift weights with my foot. I take care of my 3 children with my foot. I do everything on the Rush, including running, swimming, biking. You can do it all. But again, one of the biggest complaints is that you can't wear flip-flops, especially from us women who, we like to wear our flops. So what I'm going to do is teach you how to make your foot into a flip. So the first thing that you will need to make your foot into a flip-flop foot is some cleaning supplies. So I got some tabs here and some rubbing alcohol. We're going to clean off our foot. Now the easiest way to do this is to obviously take off your leg. So we're going to take off our leg. I am a BK below the knee left leg. Now as I'm assuming this would work on bilateral, either AK or BK, because of the way that I put it together, this flip-flop is not going to come off unless you want it to. So first off, we got to take our foot shell off. So we're going to take our handy dandy Allen wrench or flathead screwdriver and just kind of dig in there till you get the edge, because there's a lip in there that holds your foot on. So it's going to take some muscle to get in there. Don't be afraid, you're not going to hurt this foot. Remember, it's indestructible. So we're going to attempt to pop this off. Don't be afraid if you break a nail, because it may happen. You're not going to break the shell. So we dig in there, get behind the heel, and it should eventually underneath that little lip that holds your foot shell on. So I'm going to take it off. Now never mind you that this foot is 4 years old and I've been wearing it, so there's some dirt inside of there. Now if you want, you can clean off your foot while you have it off, do some maintenance. Also, I guess if you want, you can take this to your leg guy and he could probably do this for you. But I'm impatient and I want to wear my flip-flops now. So we don't need this right now. We're going to set it down. Get this out of the way for now. So here is my foot shell. I'm going to take my rubbing alcohol, clean it off. Now remember, you want to have all this stuff that I'm going to show you ready, so that this way we don't have to stop in between, put our leg back on, go grab supplies. So take a list of the supplies that I show you along the way. So foot's clean. You want to really get the bottom of the foot, because this is where our adhesive is going to stick. So that's good and clean enough anyways. So we'll set that aside for just a second. I have gotten some Scotch fasteners. Now these are the extreme fasteners. They hold up to 10 times, and I kind of like the short strips because they're all cut to the same length. Now make sure you get the double plastic sided, because if you get the cloth, they'll get dirty, and just like any other Velcro, they won't hang on to each other anymore. So the first flip-flop, you're going to need 6 of these little guys. So I'm going to set those all down for now. You will also need some Loctite super glue. Now you can also use Gorilla Glue, but it has to be clamped together for 30 minutes onto the foot, and I don't have 30 minutes. I want my flip-flops now. So I would prefer the super glue. And so we're going to take that. Okay, now is my first pair of flip-flops. Aren't they cute? Yeah. So you get to wear flip-flops. So we're going to take, I'm a left leg, so we're going to take the left one. We are going to cut the toe, the little strap that goes in between your toe. We're going to cut it off completely. These are really bad scissors. So there, now we have this part. So we got that flap out of the way. Now bilateral, you can do both sides at the same time. So we make sure that that's cleaned off. You can use alcohol pad, but these haven't been worn. It should be okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these and lock them together. Remember, they both need to be plastic so that this way it sticks together. Now I wear my flip-flops in the sand. I wear them in the water. I wear them in the dirt. I can run with my flip-flops on. I do everything that I do in my flip-flops as I do my tennis shoes. So we have to have 3 of these. You can also buy this stuff in a roll, but I prefer to get it in the short strips because they're already cut to length. And you don't have to guess on how long it is to make the next one. Or since it's attached to your foot, how long do I have to make this? So they're all the same. So we'll get these all stuck together. So when you find an abundance of these on the rack, buy a whole bunch because the next time when you go back, they may not have them. And like I said, I want my flip-flops now. So I got all of them on there. So what we're going to do is first off, I like to take one and cut just a tiny bit off the top. So we're going to take this, place it underneath the flip-flop here where you would normally attach or where the flop would go, because you need a little bit of that to stick to the front or the top of the foot shell. So we're going to take this, it's about 1/4 inch. Now it doesn't have to be perfect. Remind you, you get to wear flip-flops now, so it doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to give that a little cut. Again, these are horrible scissors. Now, the reason why we need the super glue is because the side that goes towards the foot shell sticks like glue. You won't need super glue because it doesn't. It's not pliable. However, a flip-flop is so pliable that it will move. So we need to super glue it to the top. So what I'm going to do is take off the bottom and top sticky side. Now you want to try to avoid to keep your fingers off of the sticky sides as much as possible. You're going to set your foot in there to about where you would normally wear it to begin with. Again, the toe is at the toe, so I want that flip-flop to look like a flip-flop. And it doesn't have to be tight on the sides. It can be whatever. Again, the top is just for looks. We want it to really stick to the bottom. So I'm going to take this, and a lot of flip-flops are the same. They about fall in the same spot. So I'm going to take this, attach it about to where I want it, take it by the toe, and press down. So like again, that Velcro is really going to stick to the top. So we're going to press it in there really good. And like I said, when you pull this apart, it's going to come away. So we're going to pull that off. Use our handy dandy super glue. See if this is up and running, because this is a new one. So twist it together. Pop the top, we're ready to go. We're going to worry about that super glue coming off of me later. So now I'm going to place some super glue onto this strip. And don't worry about it squirting out all over. We want it to stay. So I'm going to take this, again, press it onto where I want it. And now we wait a little bit till it's stuck to it. 1 minute to get this to adhere to the top. So I pulled my Velcro part apart. So this, like I said, will stick to the foot shell, no problems. This, since it's cloth-sided, you need to use that super glue. So we're going to pull this foot shell out of here. Now we're going to take the side, you see how dirty that is? We're going to take the side that was already cut, and we're going to put that towards the bottom. And then we're going to take there's 2 other sides. Like I said, you need 3 of them. So you want one towards the top and then one on the other side, so that we got 2 together and 1 at the bottom. And this way you have some play, because like I said, that's so pliable. So what we're going to do, and you kind of want to shift it back a little bit, leave yourself about that part that you cut in to length in between, so this way it's not sticking out over the toe. If it does, again, you get to wear flip-flops, so it's okay. So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to take the sticky side off, of both sides. Again, try not to hit the sticky side. Very carefully. On both sides. So we're going to get the first one, like I said, about where you think it needs to go. Second one, like I said, this is all live raw video, so just bear with me here. And I'm a personal trainer, so this foot, I can even wear flip-flops while I'm training. I don't recommend it because if you're not a bilateral, the other toes might get it. So I'm going to kind of give it some room here. Also, you can use the same tool you pulled your foot apart with to kind of press down on there. Like I said, it's going to stick to that foot shell. However, if it starts to come apart later, you can take some super glue and kind of get that bottom part later. Because I know it gets dirty sometimes. So we got one more to put on there. Now this is the one I cut off of. See, there's no waste. And again, it has to be the double-sided plastic because the felt side will get too dirty and you won't be able to wear them for very long. So we'll get them sticky side off. And put that bottom on there. Again, I like to use my tool. This way it just keeps the finger oils and stuff off of your flip-flop so it sticks better. And then we're going to lift up this top because we know it's where it's supposed to be. Hold it up away from your flip-flop. See if you can see here. Look where you want it to land. Bring it down ever so gently and use some muscle. So we're going to get that in there as much as possible. Now your bilaterals might have to be on your knees or get some help with this. We've all learned to get around our ability. I don't like to call it a disability. So that's pretty much stuck. Now, if we don't super glue it, like I said, it'll come off of your bottom just because of the movement, and then the foot doesn't move. So what I do is peel off the in-between layers. Now, like I said, this should stick to the flip-flop or to the foot shell like crazy. And you may need some super glue on the foot itself because this one's so dirty it looks like I'm going to have to. So we're going to attempt to pull it apart. Or what you can do is squeeze some super glue in between there. So I'm going to take this glue and put it in between. So thank goodness it's super glue, because it's super. Hey, we fix everything, even with duct tape. So we're going to hold that down there. Again, it's going to take a minute. And I would suggest, since you have to do it to the back, you're also going to have to do it to the front. So same thing. What I'm going to do is super glue the rest of this Velcro. Kind of had to use my scissors to get it apart because, like I said, this Velcro stuck. It's stuck. So I noticed that there's some other spots that have not adhered down. So I'm going to stick my super glue in there. Don't worry if it squirts out. We want it to stay together. So like I said, I had to use my muscles to get that Velcro off, because once it's together, it's together. And then, since you had to do the bottom, you might as well do the top, at least around the edges. And if it does start to pull up later, you can go back and do the same thing. Just kind of give it a squirt. Like Like I said, usually it sticks to the top pretty good, but since this one's so dirty. Okay, now the bottom will come up because like I said, it's so pliable. So we're gonna pull up on the edges just a little bit, or you can wait till it does start to pull up. Because usually they do. And kind of squirt it in the edges and push that down. Now each one usually takes about a minute to adhere. Don't be afraid if it squirts out a little bit. Just kind of rub it around the edges. Get that all together. Now again, I had to use my scissors to pull it apart. So, and then you'll really notice where it comes apart. Like this one came apart right here at the bottom. So we want to make sure that that gets in there real good. And the heel's going to pull up a lot. So we want to get in there. Now you'll have to keep super glue on hand. You don't have to carry it with you, but because of how pliable it is, it will eventually come up. So let's go right along the edge of this just to get it in there. All right, now we got Velcro. I think I'm gonna throw some super glue underneath this guy too, since it came off on the bottom, at least along the edges. Okay, now the top and bottom are Velcroed. So we're gonna take this, line up our Velcroed lines, and I'm gonna stress again that it has to be this plastic stuff or it'll come apart. And we're going to push it together. So give it some muscle. Now, if it's difficult to get together, it means it's going to be difficult to pull apart. That's what we want. We want it to stick in there. So sometimes it won't pop all the way in there until you stand on it. So because of how strong it is. So you kind of need to work it in there. And then adhere the top to your Velcro. Put your foot back on your foot shell or your rush foot. Slide it in there. Once you're all the way in there, it snaps right in, and voila, you get to wear flip-flops. So here's the matching side. Guess what? I'm flip-floppable. Now, like any other girl, or guy for that matter, we don't want only one flip-flop. So I'm going to teach you how this is going to be interchangeable. So I'm going to pull this guy apart. And again, like I said, you may have to use your handy dandy scissors to get this Velcro apart because it's a strong one for a reason. Sand, dirt, chasing children. So we're going to pull that apart. Now you may ask, well, what do I do after I'm done wearing flip-flops? What if I have to put my tennis shoes on or dress shoes or other shoes? Because it'll stick to the bottom. Well, here's what I do. I take your no-show socks and I put that guy on. And then this way, oh, that's backwards. Nope, I'm right. And this way, the bottom doesn't stick to the bottom of your tennis shoes. And it keeps it clean that way. And it comes right off. So this way you can use it again. So, and then you can slide it in or out of your tennis shoes. Now before I make the second pair, I'm going to show you what you need to do sometimes if it gets super dirty. Because same thing, it'll fill up with lint and whatever else happens. So you're going to have to take, I take my husband's toothbrush. Not really, it's just an old toothbrush. So I take it and just kind of pull out that fuzz that's in there. If you see that it's not coming out, you can use a slight metal brush. But if you do, make sure you don't pull too hard that you're breaking this, because we need that as adhesive to go towards it. So what I'm going to do, I got another pair of flip-flops here because I want these flip-flops. So I do the same thing. Cut it like I did before. I'm going to take these strips, stick them on this side. Again, get it all stuck down there. Now I'm going to leave them loose just so I can show you what you do. So you stick them on there. Cut your little piece off like you did last time so it matches the top on there. So we'll just pretend that we did that. You take your second piece, adhere it to the bottom. Ugh, get in there. Okay. Prep your flip-flop. Cut the bottom. Cut the top. Now again, bottom and your top, you're going to line up that top with the toe. Take your Velcro, stick it to the top. So you got that on there. Same thing with the bottom. Then you pull it out. You're going to take your sticky sides off just on this side. Bring it in here again. Get it all lined up. Keep your distance. Press it down so that it's even. Wherever you want it. Sometimes these won't always match up perfectly, so you might have to pull on it to get in there. So then we adhere this flip-flop. Again, we're going to pull it apart. There go them crazy dogs. So we're going to pull this apart, get our Velcro off, pull this out. Everything's stuck together. So we got our sticky sides and whatnot. Remember, you may need to use this to pull it apart and then glue down the ones that end up on here. So then you got your second flip-flop made and ready to go. So you can change flip-flops all you want. And then, like I said, cover it with your no-show socks to wear other tennis shoes. If it gets dirty, you use your alcohol, clean it off. So there's the foot and the foot shell. Like I said, you may hear some clicking because that's the foot going on there. We'll slide in our other foot. Look, I'm wearing flip-flops up and down stairs. Look at, I even painted my toes for the occasion. Isn't that pretty? Okay, I will leave you alone for the day. Enjoy.